through rest, through self-care, and through discipline and making sure that you do get enough self-care. So I am not going to take too much time talking to you because we have wonderful speakers who are joining us today. And the first speaker that I'm going to bring on is Jennine Nwoko. Okay, Jennine actually works in perhaps the most strenuous industry. She is an attorney, and her practice is focused primarily in the area of copyright law, with an emphasis on music copyright issues and other intellectual property litigation. She has also worked on transactional matters in the music industry, as well as on select artist representation. I'm wondering if Jennine knows some of my favorite artists. Jennine, welcome,
Hi.
welcome. So
Hi,
good
thank
to
you so
have
much.
you.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Where are you
introduction.
calling from today, actually?
I'm based in LA, Los Angeles, California.
Okay, so you have seen stars everywhere, right?
We see them all the time.
Yes, Jennine. On this topic today, of self-care as busy professionals, how do you advise women to take care of themselves as busy people?
So that's what we're going to dive into in the presentation. I'm
Great,
going to
great.
go over 3 different topics to really hone in. And the main things for self-care, in my opinion, are nutrition, physical health, and self-care. And self-care is definitely a very broad topic. So we'll kind of get into the specifics and go over some things that we can, as busy women, incorporate in our lives.
Well, I will bounce out of this and leave you to it, and I'll catch up with you in a few minutes, okay?
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon or evening, depending on where you are in the world. My name is Jennine Nwoko, and as the presenter mentioned, I am a lawyer. I'm a Finnish Nigerian lawyer and also a business owner, and I am based here in Los Angeles, California. I practice in entertainment and business law, and I also have a legal startup called Legal for Creatives that helps creatives and talent get started with contracts and other transactional matters. But today, the topic is fitness and wellness and self-care as a business professional. And this topic is not really aligned with what I do professionally, but I think Nancy invited me to speak because if you know me, you know how important fitness and health and self-care is to me. And I preach about this to my friends and clients and people I know, because to be our best selves, we need to take care of ourselves. And this is a topic that I feel like it has really made me be able to be successful, and it has really elevated me. The more I pour into myself has elevated me in different areas of my life, but also business. So that's why I want to talk about these topics, since they're so important for us women, especially because it doesn't matter whether you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, or whether you have a 9 to 5, or whether you have a 9 to 5 and a side hustle. But if you are a career-oriented woman, our job doesn't stop there, right? We have spouses or partners. We might have kids. We might have other family responsibilities. So our job is never over. So we really have to focus on pouring into ourselves. So the 3 topics that I'll discuss are health and nutrition, fitness, and self-care. So let's start with health and nutrition. When doctors say that it's 80% what we eat and 20% of exercise, it really is a fact. And for the past 20 years, I've been on several different weight loss journeys, gaining weight and losing weight. So I've really seen how it has affected me in different life stages. I've worked with several trainers and nutrition coaches and really learned a lot on the way. Although I'm no doctor and no expert, so don't hold me out as an expert, I do my research. I talk to people in the industry to really know what works and what we really should be focused on. So in my 20 years of losing weight, gaining weight, and just trying to figure it out, I've really seen how weight can affect my confidence, how I think, how my mind is. So what I've really realized is what you put into your system really, really affects your mood, not only your mood, but also your health, which we'll get into. But as entrepreneurs, our minds are so important. Like, we need to be able to motivate ourselves. We need to be able to think clear and think strategically. So what we really consume affects all that. So there are also physical reasons, and how sorry how 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 what we put into our system affects our mind and our health as well. But mentally, when we eat foods that enhance are able to focus, that's really what matters. And what I've noticed is that when for me, it's really about like maintaining weight, and making sure that I don't kind of go too far from where I'm at, because in this society we also have a very celebratory culture. So we pop champagne to celebrate, and we have wine nights with our friends and things of that nature. So we really have to focus as entrepreneurs and make sure that we're not indulging too much, we're not drinking too much alcohol, and we're not kind of going over our threshold, because this affects not only our mind but also our physical health. So it can affect our joints, our knees, and our back, and things of that nature. And I've really noticed this in my own life when I've been at a large law firm. And when you sit in front of a desk, in front of a computer for 8 to 10 hours straight, and then you go home and then you have a glass of wine or snacks or all these things, it just becomes a cycle. And if you don't stop yourself at some point, it can really affect not only your mindset, your mood, but also your health. So that's why a lot of women in our culture, especially here in the United States, I'm not sure about Africa, and I think it's definitely better in Africa, but in the US, we have such terrible food. If we don't make sure that we're looking at what we're buying from the grocery store, we are really putting ourselves at a disadvantage, because cancer is a real thing, stomach issues and fertility issues affect us. And these are all things that are affected by our foods and what we eat, and whether we really take care of our health and nutrition and what we put in our gut. Because like I said, everything is connected. What we eat affects our mindset and affects our bodies. So that's why nutrition is super, super important. So what I recommend and what nutritionists have recommended to me are intermittent fasting. So for weight management, if we kind of go too far from where we are at and we've been in a bad spiral, because all of us go through things in our lives that can be things that have affected our families, or death, or real things that happen to us in life. So once we kind of get back to ourselves and we realize, like, hey, how did I get here? Because that has personally happened to me so many times. Doctors and nutritionists have recommended intermittent fasting, which is where we limit the window of when we eat. So it looks different for everyone, and obviously you have to kind of go based on your schedule. But for me, I like to fast. I only eat from 12 to 8 typical days, and that has kind of helped me not overindulge by going to dinners late at night, or just eating too much in the morning. So whatever works for each person, but intermittent fasting is a good way to limit the time and the windows that you're eating, and also really making sure that you're eating enough carbs, fats, and proteins. And protein for us women is really important for different issues like muscle growth and muscle retention. So we need to make sure that we're getting good proteins and healthy fats, not so much saturated fats like potato chips and things of that nature, but really having good fats in our lives, such as avocados and nuts, and just making sure that we're really putting the right things into our body. So like I mentioned, finding balance is important. None of us are perfect, but weight management is a really important thing that affects our physical bodies, but also our mindset, which is so important for us entrepreneurs. The second thing I want to focus on is fitness. So aside of health and nutrition, physical fitness kind of goes hand in hand with what we eat, obviously, because from a scientific perspective, we lose calories and we gain calories, and we have to burn the calories if we don't want to gain weight. So movement is very important, especially like I mentioned, when we sit in front of a computer, are stuck in traffic, and drive for hours in a day. It's really important for our mobility so that we can function and that our heart and brain functions properly as well. What's important is to find a routine. So this is different for everyone. We all live in different countries all across the world. So we have different, environments, but what's important is to find a routine that works for you. And it's very personal. But when doctors say that exercise is therapy, it's really true, because from a scientific perspective, we release endorphins when we're working out, and that makes us feel good. So it is like a form of therapy where when you're exercising, that is your time and your time alone. Your spouse, your kids, or your employees, no one can do that work for you. So only you know what you put in, and what you put in is directly the result of what comes out. So I really like that, because for me, like, I might be in the middle of a day, and I usually work out not super early in the morning, but around 10 or 11. And that's my time. So my secretary knows, don't call me in this time. Don't schedule calls unless it's like a court appearance or something extremely important. I don't take calls on that time, because that's my personal time, where I like to just have my hour and focus on me. And I'm telling you guys, it has affected me so much, in where I think more clear. I'm able to be a better attorney. I'm able to be a better partner, a better daughter, a better sister, and all these things, where taking time for yourself in the form of physical fitness is really important. And it's also mentally great, because we kind of see the growth. So we see whether it's gym or dancing or swimming or yoga, whatever it is, you really see the progress, and it makes you feel good as well, because you're seeing, it might be weight loss, it might be muscle definition, it might be endurance. And it's just a great feeling to see that you're, putting in the work and getting something back. So I always encourage people to find something that you enjoy. It could be, like I mentioned, all these different exercise activities, but it could also be as simple as just walking for 30 minutes. So walking a couple times a week is a great start, and then incorporating things little by little. And we all go through things. We, might have kids. We might go through crazy work situations where we just have to work on and on and on with no breaks, no time off or anything. So in these situations, like, I've been there where I've had to work for 12-hour days. I go home at 8 and I wake up at 6, and I just don't feel like I have the time, because time is, what we always think about, and we're like, we don't have time to do that. But whether it's a 30-minute walk before going to work, a 30-minute when you have your lunch break, taking 15 minutes to walk and get some type of movement, it is a life changer, and it is really something that we as women need to focus on to be our best selves. The last topic, and definitely not the least important topic, is self-care. And I mentioned self-care is a broad topic. It's not so much about like the soft life and self-care that we see on social media, but it's really doing things we enjoy and pouring back into ourselves, a part of the physical and nutritional aspect. It can be about getting a great routine, getting a morning or night routine. Personally, I know for me, self-care means that I am on a routine. I'm doing things, I'm incorporating things in my schedule on a daily basis, and making sure that I'm taking those little moments of time for myself. So a morning routine could look like something like waking up and praying or meditating, doing what you like to do in the morning, and then setting your affirmations. It might look like journaling a little bit and just having a cup of your favorite coffee. So that's an example of a morning routine. And then for night, I think in the evening time, it's really important to wind down. And some of us suffer from sleep issues or insomnia, and having that nighttime routine where we kind of disconnect from our phones, whether it's social media or just browsing or looking at emails, it's really important, because that also affects our nervous system, and how we're wired and how we sleep, the quality of sleep that we get, that then brings us to the next day. So just having a nighttime routine where you wind down is very important. And then on top of that, I like to recommend doing something for yourself, whether it's on a monthly or quarterly basis. It could be things like getting a massage or getting a facial, getting your nails done, having some time with your girlfriends. I think it's really important to take time just for yourself, where you're getting a massage and relaxing, or doing something that you enjoy. And it doesn't have to be so glamorous or luxurious as people say on Instagram or Twitter, but just taking the time to really do an enjoyable activity that you like. And that's going to keep you going, because that's a really that's a little break that you need for yourself. And because I feel like all the women in this conference or who are watching are motivated women and have a lot of things going on a daily and monthly and weekly basis. So it's really important to just take some time for yourself, whether it's every week or every month or every quarter, whatever kind of fits into your life. I highly recommend you do it. And just start scheduling in your calendar, like you calendar everything else between meetings and personal duties. You just need to schedule that time in for yourself as well, and take an hour or two for yourself to make sure that you're pouring back into yourself. So yeah, all these topics are just so important for us to be able to be our best selves. Especially as an entrepreneur, your physical wellness and your self-care is not only important, but it's actually crucial for you to be able to keep on going and be the best self, be the best that you can be. So that was kind of what I wanted to talk about today. If you have any further questions, let me know via social media or email. But I hope you enjoyed and took something with you.
Jennine, I'm really grateful for you, because what you did is, some people, when they talk about self-care, they just give you this general idea of like, you should be taking care of yourself. You actually gave really structural, I guess, rules to taking care of yourself, or ideas that you could actually put action to, like intermittent fasting. When I started intermittent fasting, it really changed so much for me. So please, can you all drop in the chat any questions that you might have for Jennine, because this was such a great conversation. And I do not want to miss any questions that you might have. I actually do have a question for you real quick. How did you start your journey? Because I mean, you're an attorney, like that is busy. You can have 12, 15, 16-hour days sometimes. How did you start that?
I think for me, I started incorporating certain things. Sorry, is my camera froze? It looks froze, or does it move?
It is frozen, but I can hear you just fine.
Okay, great. So for me, I feel like it started even before law school, because I was an athlete, or dancer and cheerleader on a professional level, and I got injured. So I had to start getting massages at 15, and I knew nothing about massages. But once I did, I was like, wow, this actually like makes me feel better from a physical point of view, where my muscles feel less sore and I just feel better overall. And that's kind of when I started incorporating small things like massages. And then when I was, I think the biggest self-care moment for me was when I was studying for the bar. After I had graduated law school, I just started realizing how like my body would just kind of ball up and be so tight when I'm reading books. And I was like, you know what, I need to do something different. So I was like, okay, I'm snacking. I'm in front of a computer. I'm just like snacking along. I'm eating chocolate and all these bad things while I'm like literally studying for 8 hours. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to order meal preps. I'm going to get a massage once a month. I'm going to do certain things that I knew that would make me feel better from like research I've done. And that changed everything. Like I literally in the end of 2 months, I was obviously stressed. I was studying for the bar, but I felt good. And that helped me with my sleep routine. So I would say like that moment kind of made me realize like being in front of a computer and eating bad and not exercising is like putting me into such a bad position physically and mentally. So what can I do to make me feel better? And kind of ever since then, I incorporated those things throughout my law practice, which has been about it's 7 years now. I kind of schedule that in, and I don't like cut myself slack when it comes to that, because I feel like it's as important as work and certain meetings and certain like family duties that we discussed. It's really important for you to be able to be your best self.
Well, I really just want to thank you again for spending time with us today. And we do hope that we can chat with you another time. All
Definitely.
right, so we're going to move over to our